So the wheels just came back and these things look gorgeous. This is the red stitched, red stripe leather. Look how nice the stitching is, and look how well it fits. I mean, it's just beautiful, and it's got that really nice smell. It's got the real leather smell, which sounds kind of crazy, but it seems like most of the leathers these days are cheaper leather and they don't have the smell, and this does. I mean, it's great, and it feels nice. We have one in black leather, red stitch, one in Alcantara, red stitched. Now you can option to get these padded, and honestly I don't like the way they look padded. They're kind of nice on your hands when they're a little bit padded, but when you see them with the airbag, when they look really bulky and it just looks a little goofy to me. I don't like it. So this is the way I chose to do it. I'm doing one of these for our car, but look how nice the stitching is on that. That thing is beautiful. So we have these, we have a couple more coming. I have another one here, black leather with the silver stitch. I like this for the silver cars, and there's a lot of the silver cars that I didn't want to do red on those because I think it might be a little bit too much unless it has the red seats. So we had one done in silver, same thing with the silver stripe. I really like that. It just adds a little bit more of a race car feel without being too obnoxious. So I like this. We're going to kind of offer these. I'm not going to promote them too much. It's just an option for you coming down if you're going to get a car built by us, just like our seatbelts. This isn't something I want to get into and sell and try and get people's cores and people forget to ship a core back, or they send me a wheel that's, you know, destroyed, or who knows. So this is something, if you're bringing the car, let us know if you want one of these wheels. I'm going to keep a couple of popular colors in stock. I'm not going to make them infinitely optionable because then we'll never have a system that works. But this is beautiful. In fact, I got a customer that's already talking about getting one of these. Okay, so this is the factory wheel on the S2000. Now this car has the red and black interior, and last time we worked on the car, we changed this, which is the shift boot. We changed it to the Alcantara with the red stitching. Well, the wheels came back just in time, and this is the one I showed the customer and he liked, which I got to agree. It's Alcantara with the red stitching, and it has the red stripe. Not only does the Alcantara feel nice, it's got that more of an exotic look. Now, I used to think that this was difficult to stay clean. People used to tell me it gets dirty easy. Well, it also cleans very easily too. A little bit of a upholstery cleaner, stuff in the can, the foam type stuff, you rub it on here, you hit it with a dry cloth, it brings the dirt out and it gives it this nice satin look. It's very, very easy to keep up on. You don't realize leather gets so dirty because it always looks black and shiny. This you can actually keep clean and it looks clean. So I'm going to show you real quick how to change the wheel. Very, very easy. First thing you want to do is disconnect the negative battery terminal. Then I'm going to show you how to remove the airbag, then the wheel, and then take the parts from the wheel and put it over here. This is what it looks like when it's stripped down. But look how beautiful this is. I can't wait to see this on the car. It's going to make such the difference. Okay, so looking at the steering wheel from straight up and down in the regular position, on the left hand side of the wheel you're going to see this inspection cover right here, and you see a slot in a couple of points here. That is super easy to get a flat blade screwdriver in there. Don't pry and pull on it too much. You don't want to damage that plastic. So put your piece in there, pull it out lightly, and so you can get your finger on there, and that way you're not going to scrape and scratch up that panel. That panel just pops right off. Now the first thing you're going to do is disconnect this plug. This is for the airbag. Now don't be afraid of this thing. It's not a bomb. It's not going to do anything to scare you. Unplug the battery, but what you're going to do is pull this connector out, get your fingers behind here and this little tab here, and this thing will come loose. I'm doing this left-handed, but pull this out. This is your plug right here. You're going to disconnect this. You see around it, you see the little tabs on there. You're going to squeeze those tabs together and disconnect that. You pull this portion back and this out. I'm going to need my other hand to do this. Now on the same side right here, you've got this little Torx head right here. This is a T30. You're going to break that loose, and then we'll go to the other side. I'll show you how to get the other side off. So rotate the steering wheel so it's completely upside down, and then on the opposite side you're going to see another tab. Looks very similar. It's got the little slot in there for you to put the screwdriver in there. Same thing, you're going to put it in that opening, make sure it goes in far enough that you're not going to damage the panel. Little bit of pressure, get your finger behind there, and that panel will come right off. Don't pry it any more than you need to, and it will slide out this way. Again, take your time with this, don't damage these panels. So behind there you're going to see another Torx head, same thing, it's a T30, go ahead and take that out. So once you remove the Torx right here, the airbag is essentially loose. It's going to come forward, just guide it out because the plug is going to sit in there. There's the plug that you released in the first step. Put this airbag somewhere safe, and again, don't be afraid of it. It's not going to take your head off, but you do want to take care of it and don't leave it on the ground. So now what I like to do is put the wheel back to the straight position so the car is as straight as possible. Look at this from every angle you can to make sure it's absolutely perfectly centered. Again, usually you can look and just glance and see if it's off, but just look at these stalks right here, make sure it is even there, just so you don't take this wheel off and it be crooked and put the wheel back on crooked. It's not difficult, but it's best to check and double check. So next you're going to take the horn wire off. There is a little button in here. You're going to push that button down. See right there? Push that down with your finger, and this will slide right off. Again, super easy. Leave this loose. This plug right here, it's sitting in the holder. Super easy. Just clip it away from the holder so it's loose. Right here, we're going to undo this plug. This is your airbag plug. This is going to come through here. Remove it from these little tab holders right here. And again, they're plastic. Just be careful, they'll just pop right out. Take this plug out next. So it should look like this. This plug here is going to stay with the wheel, just as a note. So push this over to the side. These are 3 separate wires right here. You've got the yellow plug for the airbag, the single plug for the horn, and then the 3 wires for the steering wheel controls. They're going to slip through this hole right here. This is it's very important to see this, because if you pull the wheel off and these wires get caught, you can pull these out, you can damage this plug, you can damage the wires. You don't want to do that. Make sure all of these have a nice clear path to pass through this hole right here. I'll show you as we remove the wheel. We're going to remove this bolt right here. This is a 14. Remove this, and essentially the wheel will be loose. You don't need a steering wheel puller for these. They show you threads right here that you can put a puller in here. You don't need it. It comes off very easy, and it's just basically a little bit of pressure and a little bit of basically back and forth like this. Get the wheel and do this back and forth little at a time. Don't put a ton of pressure, because when it breaks loose, you could damage these wires. Just take your time here. What I'm going to do is break that bolt loose, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. And again, make sure this wheel, always check and double check. Get this absolutely perfect. Check it twice now. It'll save you doing this wheel again when it's on crooked. So with the bolt removed, again, check and double check this. I can't stress this enough. Make sure it's absolutely perfectly lined. So what I'm going to do is sit the camera down, see if you can see my technique here, see if this will work. But one hand on each side, rock it back and forth, up and down too. All you're going to do is break that spline loose, and there it goes. See, it's just now loose. So pulling it off here, this is where you pull it. Make sure, see, as it pulls through those wires, that's why you don't want to give it a big yank and pull it out, because you'll damage those. I've seen people do it. It makes me cringe when I see people pull wheels off like that. So just rock it back and forth, little at a time, and it'll come loose for you, and you're going to pass those wires through that hole. This here is your clock spring. Don't let this move, keep this straight up and down. This is your spline that your steering wheel is turning. This will turn independent. This is basically a long circular wire that connects these wires to the back of the dash. It's called a clock spring. It's almost like a ribbon cable. Don't turn this any more than you have to. Going from side to side is fine to line it. Don't let it loop. You can put more coils in it than it's designed, and it can damage the coil wire back there. So these are our wheels side by side, the factory OEM one and then the Alcantara one. I want to show you how to take these parts off. It's actually very simple. Just take your time. You've got Allen bolts here, and then Phillips screws, and then Phillips screws to hold this on. You're gonna flip this over. Anytime you see a screw, just take it out, make a note of where it goes. There's 2 screws down there, take that whole compartment off, and this plastic will all come off. And again, just take your time, get your cell phone, take a couple of pictures step by step. Makes it easier because you can refer back to the pictures. Just kind of remember how all this stuff looks. So now we've got our wheel taken apart. It looks just the same. These are all the same, by the way. This will all bolt from here to here in the exact same way. Okay, so if everything goes back the way it should look like this. Always double check that this moves. This is your horn. This is what the airbag is actually attached to, is this frame. You just want to make sure that you can hear that. That way when you put it on and connect it up, you don't have a horn blasting, finding out that one of these areas are bound up. So same thing, when you put it on, you're going to thread the wire through this hole right here and then slip it on. These 2 pins right here are going to line up with these 2 pins right here either side, and there's also a straight up and down marker right there that lines up with this piece on the wheel too. So just take your time, don't push anything on, sit it down there nice and easy, take your time. Let me go ahead and roll the camera so you can see what I'm talking about here. Once you sit the wheel right here, make sure it's perfectly lined up and just rock it and you'll feel it kind of line up with the splines. It's only going to go on one way and be perfectly straight. You're going to see it moves. It can be that far or that far. So always take your time, make sure you know which one is straight, which is there. So it should look like this when you put it back together. Make sure all these little things clip in, the wires route the way you want them, everything's nice and clean. The horn is pushed back on. This is your airbag wire is over here. It's going to go into that holder. As you see, there is the piece that holds it right here. Airbag, when the airbag goes back in, it's going to slide in here. The wire is going to attach on here, go around here, and again plug in on this side from the outside of the wheel. Alright, so with the airbag in place, these are the 2 wires we have to connect. This is the airbag wires, and again, you got to make sure that they're not, that's the slot that wire needs to go into. I told you on the outside of that, it's in that slot. That way when it bolts in here, it doesn't interfere with this wire. These you're going to plug them back together and fit them right back into that holder. That's what it should look like. Make sure it's snapped into place, make sure the wires are free of anywhere it can't bind up, and then the little plastic cover that we took off first is going to go back on. You see these little tabs right here on the left hand side of the picture, they slide in, so it's going to go this direction right here. So again, take your time, don't push anything. You see the little tabs right there, they're going to align on those and basically slide in, and it will go in nice and easy. If you got a faucet, it means that you got it lined up incorrectly. You see that? No fuss at all. Don't shove it, don't ram it on there. Once you damage this, it's never going to fit right again. Turn the wheel back over to the upside down position. Same again with this piece here. This clip here slides in. So you're going to hold it in this position and it slides into that slot. It basically slides in this way. Take your time, make sure it lines up nice, and it'll go right back in just as easy as can be. Alright, so this is what it looks like. Now it feels just a little bit more special. It's got a nice look to it. It matches our Alcantara right here. So here's the ultimate test. one of the first tests. Horn works. Let's go ahead and start it up. And then we're gonna go down the street, just make sure that it goes straight. Make sure all your lights are off, the airbag light is off. The only thing that's on right now is the seatbelt light. So let's put that on, let's go down the street. All right, so we're gonna verify the steering wheel is nice and straight. We are good to go. Now we have a nice wheel with the red stitching and the red stripe. This looks so much nicer. Okay, so the only wheels I have left are these two. So I'm going to tell you where I got the wheels done. I did a lot of research, talked to a lot of people. I got them done at Dallas Custom Steering Wheels. They're a small shop, but they do quality work. And I tried to work some kind of deal out with them where I would send, you know, 4 or 5 wheels at a time and get some kind of discount, and I could offer them as kind of like a core in exchange. I tried to put something together just for my S2000 guys, and they didn't really want to work with me. I think it's just because they're a smaller shop. They don't have the profit margins. It might be a small operation, so I totally get it. They can't go giving things away if they're already making money on a regular basis. So I'm not going to offer these. So the only one I have is this. This one I've decided I'm going to put it on hours. I was going to do the Alcantara, which I really like. I had it on the carbon, and I like the Alcantara wheel, but it would mean changing the shifter boot as well to Alcantara. And I don't really want to get into doing that. I don't want to go crazy with the S2000. So to make it match the interior, I'll show you in a minute, I think I'm going to do this wheel. So this wheel I have available, it's the only one I have. It's again the premium leather. It's not cheap leather at all. This stuff feels great, and it has the really strong leather smell. That's not a professional review to tell you if it's good leather or not. I know it's good leather, and the stitching is absolutely impeccable. I mean, again, there's a lot of options out there, but Dallas Custom Steering Wheels is who we used. This was from a personal recommendation from a couple of friends that have used them and send stuff out on a regular basis and give us good reviews of those guys. So this is the only one I have. Contact me if you want it. It's black with the silver and then the silver stripe on the top. Let me show you this against our car real quick, and I'll do a quick video of putting this on our car, even though I just showed you how to do it. So I think this will look a lot more special in this car. This is the factory wheel, which it's leather, but I don't know how good of a leather it is. It's obviously older too. It's got that shiny look. This is more of a luxury type material. It's a little bit thicker, not much. That's maybe 15% thicker. Just makes it feel a little beefier. I like it having the thumb bumps without being too obnoxious where you can't use it. It just catches your hand on it all the time, or your fingers. But it's got a little bit of a shape to it just to help hold in that position. But this will look good on the car, and it'll kind of bring out the red seat belts, which I like this stuff. If you watch my channel, you'll see that I talk about this a lot. I think just stitching is just special. It makes the cars look a little bit more exotic without going too crazy, and not too big of a fan of painting the interiors. Remember the old 90s where they used to take panels off like this and paint it, and if this one came off, they take that off and paint it. It's crazy that stuff's coming back around. Seems like some of the exotic cars are doing that a lot, which I don't know how I feel about that. So this is good on our car. So I'm not going to offer a steering wheel exchange. I will get a wheel done for you if you're doing a build, and if it's something we can put together for you just to help the process. But this should make a big difference on this car. Alright guys, so if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you want to see, and maybe we'll do some more. Thanks for watching guys, see you in the next video. Don't forget, enjoy your cars.